Welcome back to the Hitstick, Dallas. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are we doing?
Doing all right, man. Had a long freaking week so far, but had some good football this past week, didn't we?
Oh yeah, the games were great.
Some crazy matchups, some crazy results, some big injuries.
Yep.
Gonna delve right into it.
I'm down. Let's get
All
it.
right, let's get into it. So, obviously, we had some interesting picks. We had a lot of similarities this week. Starting to have some similarities now that I think you're getting into the analytics more, as you said before.
Yeah.
Making some smarter decisions in our picks here. But we can go into the games this week. I had the Bills over the Patriots on Thursday night. It was a good game up in Foxborough.
Yeah. Josh Allen was not in a slump that game. Not even remotely close.
Yeah, no, he definitely looked a lot better. The run game looked good. James Cook actually looked very good. He was pounding the football pretty well. Um,
Might be trying to get a starting job there or
I
something,
I
man.
think he's starting to smell that a little bit. I think he's on the hot seat. I think honestly in Buffalo in the run game there. It was nice to see that they actually utilized their running backs more so than just having Josh Allen run the football.
Yeah, kind of take over the game.
Yeah, so like I mean, he obviously still has his threat. He still carried the ball 8 times for 20 yards, but he wasn't the leading rusher
Yeah.
in this game. They actually utilized their running backs, Cook with 14 carries and Singletary with 13. So they actually are utilizing the run game more, which is nice to see. Um, Stephon Diggs with 92 yards on 7 catches and a touchdown. He looked good. James Cook also had 6 for 41 through the air, so that was nice to see.
Yeah.
The biggest surprise for me in this game was they didn't utilize Naheem Hines. They haven't really utilized him at all after making that trade, which is kind of a shame because Hines honestly is very talented. They underutilized him, in my opinion, in Indianapolis, and I thought when they made this trade, I thought they were going to actually utilize him in that pass game and help Josh Allen even more, and he really hasn't done anything in Buffalo yet to make me even like appreciate this trade. Like, it's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, I think they're seeing something from James Cook, and that's kind of probably why his like usage rate is not up there. I think James Cook's kind of come on the last few weeks.
He's definitely come on, especially as of late, for sure. On the flip side, the Patriots, nothing too crazy out of this game. I do remember from Andre Stevenson, I think he fumbled 3 times in this game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was not having a good
He
day.
was putting the ball on the field way too much for he's a rookie, isn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Ramondre Stevenson,
I think he's a rookie, I'm pretty sure.
maybe.
When the hell was he drafted? Last year, so he's a second year guy. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a talented running back in and of himself, so I'm surprised to see him turning the ball over as much as he did.
yeah. Good players have bad games.
Yeah, it's true. It does. It's very true. Mac Jones, nothing crazy. I did see freaking Marcus Jones, the corner, catching that huge touchdown.
Oh yeah, that yep.
That
That
was big. They brought him in as a wide
yeah.
receiver,
His
and
first play, on offense was a
it
touchdown.
it was actually a really interesting play that they drew up there. So,
Yep.
but I mean, the Patriots not really a match for the Bills. Bills are just the best team in the AFC East, my
Yeah, I think
opinion.
they're having OC issues in New England right now.
I think I remember seeing that with Matt Patricia. Yeah.
Yeah, my Twitter feed has been buzzing.
So we both got that one right. The next game we had was the back to week 13 here. The next game was the Giants Cowboys, also a Thursday night game. No, no, sorry. That was sorry. They had the Bears Packers. Sorry. Up in Chicago. Packers taking care of business up in Chicago.
Yep.
Rodgers finding Christian Watson in the end zone again.
That dude's coming to life.
He really is. That's I think it's 7 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks or something like that. He's been
Yeah.
having a hell of a season
Hell yeah.
since Rodgers and him. They had a rough go of it first few weeks, he didn't really have a connection with him, especially with some of the drops he had early on in the year. But he's definitely come along as of late. AJ Dillon, huge game from him as a backup to Aaron Jones. I think Jones got hurt in this game.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, he did come back from that injury, but Dillon was definitely the got the bulk of the carries for them. 93 yards and a touchdown. He looked good. Christian Watson also had that huge run play, big rushing touchdown. Nice to see out of that. So the Packers are getting things done on offense. Their defense looked pretty well, or played pretty well. Jair Alexander had a pick, and Keyshawn Nixon had a pick as well off of Justin Fields. Justin Fields also had that huge run.
Yeah.
He looked good. Overall, I mean, his 2 interceptions obviously were his 2 bad throws. He only had 5 incomplete passes though in this game, and he threw for 254. So, I mean, he still looks good. I know he was hurt, but definitely didn't show it in this game. He definitely played very well.
Yeah, Justin Fields is definitely. I think you give that guy a team, like a better team built around him, and he might do damage in the NFL.
I think so too. I mean, it's to be seen still. I mean, he's still young. They have pieces that they need to put around him. But I think if they do put the talent there, I think he has the promise to be a very good quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Next one we had was what? The Steelers going down to Atlanta and beating the Falcons.
Yep.
Kenny Pickett playing very well again. Pretty consistent as of late. He's actually showing promise as a quarterback in the NFL.
He's not throwing picks.
He's not making mistakes, and that was the biggest thing that he was making early on in his career. Definitely not throwing interceptions. I don't think I've seen him throw a pick in a few weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
He hasn't thrown one in 4 weeks. It looks like.
That's a great showing from a rookie quarterback. That's for sure. Najee Harris looked well.
Big stiff arm in that game.
Dude, he threw that defender to the freaking ground.
It was that was fun to watch.
Yeah, Najee Harris is definitely coming around. He had a rough start to the season too,
He did.
He's definitely coming around to where he was before. Mariota on the flip side, nothing great out of him. He's just not good.
Yep, he never has been, never will be.
Cordell Patterson had a pretty good game. He looked pretty good. He was hurt, I believe. I think he was on IR at one point. Nice to see him coming back. Drake London had a nice game, 95 yards receiving on 6 catches. Solid.
Got him the ball. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a solid showing out of him for a rookie that kind of faded away for a bit.
Yeah, he was like big, like talk or like early on in this year.
Yeah,
I was thinking he was gonna have a really good year.
Yeah, and he was actually he showed promise early on. He was making some big catches, but then he kind of faded away like towards the middle of the year. So it was nice to see a good game out of him as a rookie. Falcons obviously losing this one. They're not doing great, but they're still somehow hanging on in this horrible ass NFC South. Crazy stuff there. The next game had the Jets and Vikings. This game played very well. Almost reminiscent kind of to the Bills Vikings game a few weeks ago. Mike White throwing the ball left and right, but also throwing some picks. So, I mean, he didn't look as hot as he did in his first game, but he still made some great throws. Garrett Wilson made some crazy ass catches.
Yes.
He's definitely coming on as a rookie. The connection between him and all 3 quarterbacks now that the Jets have started this year, he's definitely their leading receiver. Like, he's their number 1 target.
Yep.
He's 100% taken that role from Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore was the star last year, and Elijah Moore has disappeared in that offense. 2 catches for 7 yards this week. That's a yikes for a guy who led the team in receiving last year. Running, the Jets running back situation's interesting. They lost Breece Hall. Michael Carter took over. He got hurt. They traded for James Robinson. Robinson hasn't done squat in New York since they traded for him. This practice squad guy, Zonovan Knight, has taken over. The last 2 weeks, he's been their workhorse tailback. He had 90 yards on 15 carries this week, 6 yards per carry. Not bad for a practice squad guy.
That's solid, man.
Yeah, so I mean, he's looked very good, and I don't think anyone knows who the hell he is. So good for him.
Good for him.
They just lost this game though. Kirk Cousins definitely balled out. Dalvin Cook looked really good. Alexander Madison had a nice touchdown run.
Yep.
Jay Jetta's kind of a quiet game. Still had a touchdown, but he was obviously getting flanked by Sauce Gardner. So
yeah, he was keyed in that whole game.
Yeah, I mean, he still made some catches, still made some nice catches, but overall, it was a pretty quiet game for him. I mean, this was just a good defensive battle, in my opinion. Both teams played very well on defense. It just came down to the better team, and that was the Vikings in this situation, winning the game.
Yep.
The next game we had was the Jaguars going up to Detroit and not showing up in this game. The Lions beat the piss out of the Jaguars in this game.
Yeah, that was not a good game. That game was over in the first half.
Yeah, it was rough going for the Jags. Jared Goff looked phenomenal.
Goff, man.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, dude, he was making some crazy ass catches in this game. He made one catch, I believe, in the middle of the field sometime in like the first half where he was literally on the ground and he still somehow managed to reach out and grab a catch. It was insane to watch. Jamal Williams getting another touchdown. He's the leading rusher this year. It was nice to see DeAndre Swift actually get some carries in the red zone. He actually ended up scoring a touchdown in this game. They seem to not utilize him at all in the red zone. That once they get there, it's Jamal Williams getting most of the carries. But it was nice to see them utilize Swift at least one time in the red zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got the ball. He had a good carry that got them into the red zone, and I was surprised that they didn't bring him off the field to bring in Jamal Williams. They let him continue carrying the ball, and he ended up scoring eventually.
Yep.
But so it was nice to see that. DJ Shark had a good game, 5 for 98. Swift had 49 yards receiving as well, so that was nice to see. Jameson Williams played in this game, no catches though. I did see him take a few snaps, but I mean, it was his first game back, so I'm not surprised that he didn't have much show for it. Trevor Lawrence got hurt in this game, but he did return, so it was nice to see that. I'm glad it wasn't too serious, because it was a scary injury.
Yeah.
He got his leg completely bent.
Yeah.
And he went down, and I believe he left right before halftime, and he came back in the second half, so it was good to see that. But, I mean, the Jaguars just didn't show up in this game offensively.
No,
I mean, they needed to. They needed to, after that showing against the Ravens, they needed to come out in Detroit and absolutely pound the Detroit defense, and they really didn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't get much going early on, and they just fell behind and couldn't catch up.
Yep.
Tough going for them. Christian Kirk had a nice game, though, 6 for 104.
Yeah.
He's been definitely their leading receiver, so.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a bright spot for that team.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing much outside of that, though. I mean, no one had over 30 yards receiving besides Kirk, so that's not a winning. The next game we had was the Eagles playing the Titans. The return of Brown against his former team. The Eagles obviously are just a very good football team. Like this was a telling game for two very good football teams. Tannehill, he didn't make any mistakes, but he didn't look good against a very good Eagles defense. Jalen Hurts is him.
He is in the running for MVP.
He is him. It's
scary.
The run game, though, I mean, I know the Titans' defense is very good, but the run game for the Eagles struggled again. That's one thing that I will knock on the Eagles this game, is they did not have a run game. And that's one thing that I've continued to say is, like, their struggles in the run game are definitely deciding factors in some of these games. It wasn't in this game, obviously, because Jalen Hurts took over and threw the football extremely well. But can he do that consistently if his run game is struggling? That's the leading question.
I 100% agree. I think they need to figure out their run game before the playoffs because if Miles Sanders can't give you 80 yards minimal in a playoff game, I don't know what's going to happen.
2.4 yards per carry is not good.
Yeah,
It's not gonna get you, not gonna get good things out of it.
yeah. And I mean, I know that Tennessee defense is a hard team to run on, but if you can't run against a team in the playoffs, man, it's gonna really hurt your offense.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna hurt them for sure, especially against some of
Offense,
these better offenses. I mean,
yeah.
The Titans are definitely a better defensive team than an offensive
Mm-hmm.
team, but
Yeah,
you play against a Chiefs team, or you play against this Cowboys team, it could get scary.
yeah.
AJ Brown 8 for 119 and 2 touchdowns, big game out of him. Devonta Smith had a really nice touchdown as well. He had 100 yards receiving, so great out of them. They're making do without having Dallas Goedert in that offense. So the backup tight ends have actually they've stepped up. I know they're not putting up big numbers, but Jack Stoll 3 for 41. Grant Calcaterra had a catch for 19. So I mean, they're doing their jobs, and that's as backup tight end playing in a starting role. They're at least getting receptions. They're getting yards. Might not be big yards, but they're doing their jobs as backup tight ends. So I mean,
Yeah,
they're getting by.
yeah. Even with that run game hurting, I mean that Nick Sirianni's that play calling is so good right now that I think you could put anybody in that offense and they would do good right now. To be honest,
100%. And if it's Jalen Hurts throwing you the football, you don't really have much to worry about. On
yeah,
the other side, Derrick Henry 11 for 30.
yeah. It's an under
Yeesh,
night for him.
yeesh. Ryan Tannehill is your leading rusher in this game. That's not a winning formula for an offense that doesn't have much star talent. I know Traylon Burks had that huge touchdown catch and he got hurt. He got a helmet to the face mask. And he left the game after that. But I don't know how the hell he caught that football. He got hit hard.
Yep.
So losing him definitely hurt that offense. And there's no other receiver on that team with more than one catch this game.
Yep.
That's a crazy thing to see. You have no receivers, no wide receivers in this game for the Titans had more than one catch.
Not good.
Rookie tight end or Chigazine Okonkwo or whatever, however you pronounce his name, with 4 for 68. He's a sleeper tight end in my opinion. He
He's
seems
had
to put up numbers every single week.
he's had a big play every week. Like
Yeah,
not like he's not putting up like stats, but he's like having some like 30-yard play.
he's
Literally.
a highlight guy. He's got at least one highlight per week. Per week. Like literally going back the last like 4 or 5 weeks, you have at least one highlight per week of Chigoziem Okonkwo.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I
Uh,
think they need to start implementing him in that offense a little bit more. To be honest,
he puts up better numbers than Austin Hooper, and that's crazy to think because they're paying Hooper to be a tight end. He's not really doing much.
no, he's not.
But I mean, I think that's an ode to Tannehill at quarterback. Tannehill really doesn't utilize his tight ends. For a guy who doesn't really like gun the football to receivers or anything like that, he doesn't utilize his tight ends really either. So
Yeah.
it's a tough situation for the Titans. And playing a good Eagles team like that with an offense that really didn't have much going, that was a rough loss for them in my opinion.
Yeah. It was.
The next game we had was the Browns versus Texans. The return of Deshaun Watson, Houston.
He didn't really return.
He threw up a stinker. This offense didn't have a touchdown, I don't think.
Nope. It's all special teams and defense.
Yeah, nah. They the Texans defense played well. I will say that. They played well against a guy who's supposed to be he was an all-star quarterback before he got suspended.
Yeah.
So I mean, they played very well against an all-star quarterback. I'll put asterisks around that.
Yeah.
um, the Texans, on the other hand, really didn't do much at all offensively. I mean, Kyle Allen played okay. I mean, he made some bad throws, definitely. They don't
Played
really
better
have
than,
start.
Deshaun.
Yeah, he did. He did definitely play better than Deshaun Watson. They benched Deshaun Watson at one point. I remember them bringing in Brissett to hand the football off a couple times.
Yeah.
I think it was really early on. It was early on though, and I think it was to settle the nerves of Deshaun. I think he was definitely kind of shell shocked early on. He
Yep.
was definitely making some errant throws. He was getting pressured by the Texans defense, but it wasn't like a crazy pressure. It was enough to rattle a guy who hasn't played in 2 years, and it
Yeah.
showed definitely. Um, Donovan Peoples-Jones has definitely put his name out there for this freaking Cleveland offense, though. He was returning kicks. He had the big kick return. Um,
Yep.
he made some decent catches, but like overall, he's been honestly a bright spot on this Browns team that really hasn't done much this year.
I think he's been out. I think he's been out playing Amari Cooper.
He definitely has. Like, have you heard much about Amari Cooper other than like a couple
No.
touchdowns here and there? Like, you really haven't
Very
heard
under year for
much.
him.
You've seen Donovan Peoples-Jones every week for the Browns. If there's a highlight coming out of Cleveland, Donovan Peoples-Jones is literally it. Nick Chubb with a quiet game, nothing crazy out of him. 17 for 80. Nothing really offensively, and that's an ode to the quarterback play that they had this week. The defense played phenomenal though with the fumble return, the pick six.
Yes, they did. That defense looks very good.
No sacks though. Quiet game out of Myles Garrett. He was definitely getting pressure though. The pressure definitely caused a lot of these turnovers.
There was definitely pressure.
There was definitely pressure, but they never sacked Kyle Allen. So I mean, good game out of the defense and special teams.
Football a little quicker.
I mean, he definitely needs to though. I think holding the football for a guy who's not a true starter, and I do know he got benched after this game. They are starting Davis Mills next week.
Yeah,
That's a tough spot for Houston. I mean, they're in a rough spot. Commanders Giants. This was an interesting game.
Yes, it was.
Two very good football teams, two very hot teams right now, in my opinion. The Commanders definitely are playing very improved football. The Giants, I know, are beat up right now, but they're also still playing very good as well.
Yeah.
I think Daniel Jones is low key breaking out this year.
Yeah,
As crazy as it sounds, I think he's breaking out this year. Like 25 for 31 with 200 and a touchdown. He also was their leading rusher with 71 yards. So I mean, he had a pretty damn good game in this game, and that ended in a tie, which is crazy to think because like one of these teams should have won this football game. There were some missed kicks, there were some missed plays. There's a bunch of penalties in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Daniel Jones hasn't had like a huge game this year, like where he's like 3 tutties, 300 yards. But man, I think he's playing as good as you can with the receiving core that he has around him. I mean, like I feel like he's made the most out of what they have right now.
Yeah, I mean, your leading receivers in this game: Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, and Richie James, receiver wise.
Yeah.
Daniel Bellinger is obviously a tight end, but like your leading receivers: Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, and Richie James. Who? I mean, Slayton. Yes, I mean his name is around, but
Yeah.
Isaiah Hodgins and Richie James. Who?
I don't know who those guys are.
Who?
Like I said, I think that Giants offense has made something work.
I mean,
something work.
I don't know. I think that's an ode to what's his name?
Brian Dable.
Dable. I think that's a ode to Dable. Like I think that man he's found that locker room. He's turned the team around. He's turned the entire organization around, in my opinion. I think they have something brewing in New York. Maybe not this year, but I think they're in the right direction. The Commanders definitely a hot ass team as well. Heineke has looked phenomenal since taking over. That man is playing great football. 2 touchdowns, 275 out of him. Brian Robinson, another phenomenal season out of a rookie who missed the first, was it 4 or 5 weeks with that gunshot wound? Got shot in both his legs. And this man's out here churning the football.
Yep.
96 out of him on the ground, 21 carries. Terry McLaurin had a nice catch in this game. Jahan Dotson has been a bright spot for them as well. Curtis Samuel making some big catches.
That might be one of the rookies of the year, man.
Dotson, yeah, he's been phenomenal for that team. The speed of the receivers, though, that I will say, they have some fast receivers in Washington. Terry McLaurin is scary as it is. Nickname Scary Terry.
Yep.
Curtis Samuel has always been a very fast, quick receiver. He's been great for them this year. Dotson's a fast ass receiver as a rookie. So I mean, they have some quick receivers on this team. And if they get if they continue to get the play out of Taylor Heineke the way that he has been playing, I think this team could very well make a run as a wild card team because they're not going to win their division. They're not because of the Eagles and the Cowboys, but they could make a run for this division. It's going to come down to how they play throughout the rest of the season, obviously, because there's 4 teams aren't going to make it out of this division, which is crazy to think of how well they're playing. All 4 teams in that division.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to come down to how these teams play the rest of the year.
Yeah, looking at this schedule, man, the Commanders do not have a friendly end to the season.
Who do they play?
Giants, Niners, Browns, Cowboys. That's gonna be tough.
That's a scary end of this. They're gonna have to play well. That's all I can say. They're gonna have to play well to make it in. But I mean, if you're a team that coming into this year, you're not expected to do well in a division that's supposed to do well.
Nobody was thinking the Commanders are gonna be where they're at
no.
right now.
But like playing as well as they have to compete with the top dogs in order to solidify that. So if you want to be a playoff team, you have to come out and you have to beat these better teams. So these next few weeks are going to be a big sign for this Commanders team. Mm-hmm. And they compete with the big dogs, or are they going to crumble and fall off? That's what's going to be the big tell for them.
Yep.
The next game we had was the Broncos and Ravens. This was an ugly game. Losing Lamar Jackson to injury in this game for the Ravens. That was a tough loss for them. The Broncos obviously just freaking flat out suck.
I love Lamar.
I will say, though, Tyler Huntley looked pretty dang good replacing Lamar.
I mean, okay, up until he
backup quarterback who has not touched the football field, I will say. He looked pretty good. He was making
than he did last year.
He was making good passes. He made a bad throw. Yes, he threw a pick. But he looked decent as a backup quarterback coming in to replace the injured Lamar Jackson. Lamar, you can't say much out of him because he got hurt early on, and that was the rough spot in this game. This game came down to defenses. The Ravens had the better defense in this game.
Yeah, go defense.
I think that's what kept you in this game because it could have got scary, in my opinion. It could have easily gotten scary. Your defense definitely made it possible to win this game. I will say, the play call to let James Prochet throw a football was a mistake.
Yeah, we're having OC issues, man. I don't know what's going on. I think they're talking about firing Greg Roman. Don't know what's happening. I know a lot of Ravens fans don't like Greg Roman. I think he's great when he's great, and when he's doing whatever the fuck else he does, I don't fucking know. But that man has coordinated one of the greatest running games football has ever seen, and that might be mainly because of Lamar Jackson. I don't know, but he was the coordinator for that. To me, that's kind of impressive. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, some of the play calling this year has been questionable for sure. I mean, injuries have definitely hurt this team. I mean, they haven't had their star running backs for a lot of the season. Lamar going down doesn't help. Lamar's also been injured. He has been injured. He was injured last week, I believe.
He's been injured 3 weeks.
He's shown up on the injury report a few times. So I mean, I don't know how bad those injuries have been. Obviously, this new one is serious, but I don't know how much his previous injuries affected his play during the weeks. Your receiving core obviously has had injuries, lost some players. Your tight ends has been hurt a couple of times. So I mean, injuries have definitely riddled the offense to an extent. Your defense has come around big time.
Yeah, they have.
The first few weeks were rough going, but they've figured it out. It seems like the acquisition of Roquan Smith has definitely been guys, especially linebackers. Patrick Queen struggled at middle linebacker, and now that Roquan Smith has taken over and they've moved Patrick Queen kind of like a a coverage like outside linebacker. Not really blitzing, but he's doing well getting tackles
Yeah, he's playing a
outside.
lot better. Actually,
Whatever they did with putting Roquan Smith in the center, I think it's taken the pressure off of Patrick Queen, and I
yeah,
think he's playing better because of that.
yep.
So I mean that's a big acquisition on defense. The corners have been playing much better. That's been a big thing for you guys as well. I mean, early on, whatever you guys play called early on in the season, having your star corners cover tight ends and running backs instead of receivers,
Yeah.
that switch has definitely helped. It's
I
evident.
also think there's like a lot of a testament to the fact that we've been Marcus Williams has been out the whole year.
Yeah.
That's for me is also another great thing is the defense has been easily top 10 in the league for a few weeks now. I don't know if the numbers say they're top 10, but they've played like a top 10 defense. I mean, not many teams in the NFL can hold a team to 7 points. I mean, even the Broncos
We held him to
scored.
You held him to 9.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like they couldn't really get anything going. And what I'm trying to say is, even the
Oh.
Broncos have scored against other good teams. Like they've scored more than that. So
Yeah, no, it was a very good showing by a Ravens defense that's definitely improving. So that was a good sign. Russell Wilson struggling again. Nothing crazy out of him. I don't know what the hell's going on. Honestly, he doesn't even look the same.
yeah, it does. I don't even. Did an alien like take over his body or something?
I don't know.
I don't. That's not the Russell Wilson I know.
It's not that Russell Wilson anyone knows, honestly. He did
Like,
lose
how did he
Cortland.
get in the?
He did lose Cortland Sutton in this game, so he didn't have his leading receiver. Problematic. Any quarterback.
Yeah.
But he definitely hasn't been himself.
Kind of looked like Russell Wilson in that last drive, though.
Yeah, he was looking good late, but I mean, it's
No,
not the same.
specifically that last drive.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just saying it's not the same Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
not.
know, man. I
It
don't.
it really isn't. The team just does not. It's not playing well, like straight up. McManus was hitting some good field goals though, so I mean, it's a tough game for it. This game was supposed to be a relatively good game for the Ravens, and it wasn't a great game because of the injury. So I mean, it's good that they pulled out the win, especially for playoffs, especially in a division where the Bengals are fighting for that division. So a good game for the Ravens to pull out. Hopefully, Lamar isn't
Comes
too
back
hurt.
before the playoffs.
Yeah, I know it was a PCL sprain.
Yeah, I
Something
think
like
it's
that.
week to week.
Yeah,
That's what um the report was. It's week to week right now.
gotcha. All right, well, we'll have to see how that plays out. The next game, Dolphins versus 49ers. This was a weird game. Uh, Jimmy Garoppolo went down with a broken foot early on in this game,
Yep.
which is a big injury for the 49ers. I do know he's potentially coming back for the playoffs if they make the playoffs. So that's huge for them.
Yeah.
He was originally supposed to be out for the season. He was supposed to have surgery, and they've determined that he doesn't need surgery now, so that's a big plus for them. Brock Purdy though came in and took over and absolutely killed the Dolphins. He made throws left and right. McCaffrey, huge game in the passing game this week, 8 for 80 and a touchdown. Deebo Samuel looked good. Brandon Ayuk has continued to make catches and make plays in the receiving game. Quiet game out of Kittle, it looks like. And the run game looked pretty good for the 49ers. I mean,
Yep, CMC, man.
yeah, I mean it's you have so much talent on that team. It's tough to beat. That defense is scary as all hell. You have Nick Bosa playing phenomenal. That dude is probably your defense.
Yeah.
He leads the league in sacks now. He's at 14 and a half sacks after this game. He had 3 in this game.
Yep.
So I mean, you can't say anything bad about that dude. That dude is a phenomenal player.
That was
Um,
the return of Eric Armstead, so that defense got better,
Armstead
which is
didn't have any tackles in this game, but he was putting pressure on the quarterback up the
yeah, he
middle.
was he was a big he was big in gap control, man.
Yeah, he was definitely playing well. And then on the flip side, the Dolphins, they couldn't seem to get the run game going, and I think that hurt them more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Tua made some bad passes in this game, but he was also struggling to get connected with his receivers. He had
Yep.
the one huge play to start the game, and then he went on an 0 for like 9 streak passing the football,
Yep.
which I don't know what the hell happened. I think the pressure got to him too much, in my opinion, and I think
Yeah.
he got flustered, and I think he was scared to take hits, so he was just getting the football out, and it was
Mm-hmm.
showing with his receivers. I think there was a play where a receiver even looked back at Tua like, "What the hell are you doing?" after an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was rough going. I know Waddle got hurt in this game. He did return, but he was quiet. Only one catch in this game. Tyreek Hill had a huge game, obviously, but I mean,
Yeah, it came to life in that fourth quarter. Kind of gave you all a little bit of hope there at the end,
that
man.
seems to be the thing with Tyreek Hill. He seems to be a big second half guy, like a big third quarter, fourth quarter receiver for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Um, which makes sense. I mean, they key him early, and then if people are going off early on, they start to key away from him, and he goes off in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that makes sense. He's a star receiver, so that's normally how things go. I know Tua got hurt in this game again. I don't think it's a big injury. I think it was like a twisted ankle, so he'll probably be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was a rough going for the offense. I know the 49ers are a top team, but they should not have struggled as much as they did in this game, in my opinion. For a team
My
that's supposed to be as good as they are, they
yeah.
didn't put up the numbers that I thought they would, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I
Go
I
ahead.
will say though, historically, no matter the like, no matter what, no matter how good an offense has ever been, no matter what, a number one defense when it comes to like what the Niners have right now, when they're just unanimously the best defense in football, there has never been an offense that has beaten that. Historically, never.
Yeah.
So I will say that that's a really tough game to win because that Niners defense is actually nuts.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they had 4 takeaways in this game, 3 sacks. They they played very well. The Dolphins went 0-7 on third down.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like history is definitely a big factor here. I mean, if there's never been a number one offense to beat a number one defense, and the Dolphins aren't even, I don't even think they have the number one offense in the league. I know they're like the number one passing team in the league, but
No, the run game is definitely not there.
yeah, if that's
If they
never happened,
if
then
they could
what's the
get
real
a run
excuse?
game going, the Dolphins could be much better.
Yeah, I can agree.
That is the one thing that I will say the Dolphins have lacked is having a solid run game in a while. Um, if they could get that going, I think Tua will be a better quarterback
Yep.
because the pressure on Tua is, I think, the biggest factor for him. It showed early on when he was getting hit and he was making errant throws. I know there were some drops and stuff, but he was making bad throws because of the pressure. And I think that's a big ode to them and not having an offensive line right now. A lot of injuries on that offensive line.
Yeah,
They
man,
had
that O
2
line is
practice
weak.
squad tackles starting in this game.
Yeah.
They didn't have their left guard in this game as well. So, I mean, there's some rough injuries on that offensive line, and that's a big
Yeah.
concern for the Dolphins, especially
Mm-hmm.
with how Tua has taken hits this year. Um, he definitely can't afford any more of those, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that the O line also has a lot to do with the reasoning behind you guys only running the ball 8 times in that game.
Yeah, I mean, also the fact that they kind of fell behind quick,
Yeah, they did. They were playing from behind the whole game.
so they definitely did abandon the run game. Good win for the 49ers, especially after losing starting quarterback. So
Yeah,
a big game for them. Next game we had was the Seahawks versus the Rams. Uh, Geno Smith, holy shit.
yep.
That man has had a resurgence in Seattle this year.
He didn't
Uh,
write back, man. He didn't write back.
Yeah, it's true. Like, he's been playing lights out. I think he's first in a lot of categories passing the football this year, which is crazy to think when you think Geno Smith. Uh, he's figured out how to throw a football again in
Yep.
Seattle. Pete Carroll has turned the offense around there for a team that wasn't supposed to do jack squat offensively. Um, on the flip side, the Rams injuries are riddling that team. It's unfortunate for them. They've definitely added up. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost their star receiver. They lost their number 2 receiver.
Yeah. I got a
um,
little bit of a hot take here.
Go ahead.
Russell Wilson has vanished. Not on a Seahawks team, right?
Yeah,
Is it that team's like coaching and coordinating
I
that
think Pete Carroll
elevates a
is.
quarterback?
I think Pete Carroll's got something there. Yeah, I think that's the case. Um,
Because who was Geno Smith before this year?
the backup for what 4 or 5 seasons in Seattle, and he played for the Jets before that.
That's kind of
Nothing.
crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge to see. I mean, here, hang on. The the image I sent you, and I saw this was the fact that he leads the NFL in games with multiple passing touchdowns. He has 10 of those. We're in week 14.
Yeah.
Uh, he leads the NFL in games with a 100 passer rating. He has
Mm-hmm.
9 of those. We're in week 14. And then he also leads the NFL in games with a 70% completion percentage. He has 8 of those. We're in week 14. He has 8 games with at least a 70% completion percentage. For a guy who was irrelevant before this
Yep.
year, that is phenomenal.
Yep.
That dude is playing phenomenal football in Seattle this year. And another thing in Seattle this year, their running game, they lost a lot this week running the football. Kenneth Walker got hurt. He, I think, got into a fight with somebody in their locker room, which is not good.
Yep.
Um, they lost Kenneth Walker. Tony Jones took a huge hit and he exited the game. DJ Dallas was supposed to be doubtful to return with an injury in this game before Tony Jones got hurt. And after that injury, they had to bring DJ Dallas back into the game because they
Yeah.
didn't have any other active running backs.
Yep.
That's a bad situation for a team that is playing very well, but losing 3 running backs in one game is not a good sign.
Yeah.
uh, Geno picked up the slack though. I mean, Tyler Lockett with 9 for 128. DK Metcalf 8 for 127. Holy. Have a day. Noah Fant looked good in this game too. I mean, Geno's just spreading the football around. And he's getting the ball to his star receivers and letting them do it.
Yep.
It's good to see. I mean, I like what I'm seeing out of him. Seattle has a chance to do something. They have to play well to finish out the season, obviously, to do anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they've outperformed every aspect of predictions for sure.
Yep.
The next game we had was the Chargers versus the Raiders in Vegas. Good game, very good game. Huge game from frickin' Devontae Adams. My
Yes,
God,
that man was eating.
that man. I don't know who he is. Like, that dude is on another level. Like, when you think receiver in the NFL, Devontae Adams is on another of.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, another huge game out of him running the football. Derek Carr, nothing too crazy. Obviously, I mean, he has to get the ball to Devontae Adams, but I mean, nothing crazy out of him. 16 touchdowns with a pick. I mean, he's doing. He's an average quarterback in my opinion. He's nothing crazy. Devontae Adams is the entire receiving core for them,
Mm-hmm.
without a question. Not having Darren Waller's a big issue for the Raiders, but they're getting it done offensively. Uh, Chargers, on the other hand, they struggled running the football against this Raiders team. Receiving core is still struggling without Mike Williams. Herbert throwing the football. He looked good. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
No mistakes, which is always a big thing in the NFL. But I mean, he's had to deal with a lot this year, in my opinion. You can't knock a guy who's had no receivers for a majority of the year and then also having it that's pretty serious. I mean, he did break some ribs, or
Yeah.
he broke some cartilage in his rib. Sorry, I don't want to say something that's not true. He didn't break a rib. He broke cartilage,
Yeah.
which is a serious injury. It is a serious injury. He played through it, so I mean, I respect that. But they're in a tough spot offensively. I think they need someone to step up more. Eckler can't do everything for them, and they need someone else to step up offensively in order to compete. I mean, they're both, in my opinion, the Raiders have so much more talent than they're showing, and the Chargers, if they're healthy, are a very talented football team as well. So I mean, both teams have the talent. It's just a matter of having them on the field.
Yeah.
That is the biggest issue, in my opinion. This was a good game, though. This game played well
I
up
will
until
say
the
if
end.
Josh Jacobs keeps running the football the way he's been running the football the last couple weeks, teams are going to have a problem.
Josh Jacobs is going to be paid offseason.
Yeah.
The Raiders are going to miss him. I think they made a
Unless they
mistake.
re-sign him.
They rejected his option.
Oh.
Yeah, they
So I guess
rejected
they're
his
moving away from
option.
him.
Yeah, they did. They turned down his 5th-year rookie option, so they're moving on from Josh Jacobs. He will be on a different team there this coming year. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for them. I think they're making a mistake in that, but they already
Oh,
made
I
that
do too.
decision, so that's on them.
Yeah. Considering this dude is leading the league in rushing yards and
Yeah,
he's doing it
that's
in an emphatic fashion.
yeah, that dude's been phenomenal this year. He's getting paid, and that's what he's playing for. He's playing for money, so I respect that.
Hell yeah.
The Sunday night game, or sorry, no, this was another afternoon game. I'm sorry, I forgot. This game should have been a Sunday night game, in my opinion. Bengals Chiefs. I don't know why this game was prime time. These two teams play so well against each other. Joe Burrow has never lost to Pat Mahomes.
Never lost to Pat Mahomes.
Never. And he's repeated that again. Another phenomenal game out of Joe Burrow. He's stepped up big time this year, especially losing Jamar Chase for a few weeks. That's a big sign for a guy who had a lot on his shoulders this year. There's a lot lying on Joe Burrow this year to perform well, get them back to the Super Bowl. He obviously took them there last year, but they needed a big season out of Joe Burrow this year, and I think they're getting that out of him, which is huge. Samaje Perine replacing Joe Mixon again this week. That dude looks great.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen him run the football, that dude runs with passion. For a guy who's been a backup for his entire career, he's playing like a guy who's been a starter for years. Which is huge. Losing Mixon, that's a big injury.
Yeah, that's hurting. But I mean, Samaj is he's picking it up.
Yeah, definitely. He's looked great in the pass game and in the run game. That's a big thing too. Is they're utilizing him in both aspects. T. Higgins with a great catch in this game. Tyler Boyd with a huge drop in this game. That he had a wide open touchdown. I think it was going into halftime, or right before halftime. He had a huge dropped pass going into the end zone. So that's a big out of the Bengals offense. I don't know how the hell he dropped it. He had it square in his hands. Dropped it.
Yep.
Jamar Chase is him. He came back in this game and proved he is him. The catches he was freaking making were absurd. The sideline catches, the one-handed catches he was making, it was just insane. There was one play, it didn't count as a catch, but he literally one-handed a ball, falling, and tried to still get his toes down while getting smothered by a cornerback.
Yep.
It's freaking nutty stuff. Bengals offense definitely proving as the season goes on. for sure. They're playing much better. The Chiefs in this game, um, Pacheco running the football like a true starting running back. He's definitely making a case to be. That kid has earned every right to be the starter. Uh, they just have obviously they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire there. He didn't play in this game, but
Nope.
they obviously have a battle brewing in Kansas City. That Mahomes kind
Yeah.
of quiet in this game.
Did you
Go ahead. I'll let you finish this.
I just totally lost it.
Damn.
That's unlucky.
Sorry about that. Other than that, though, we had a quiet game out of Pat Mahomes, in my opinion. 16 completed passes, 223 and a touchdown. Bengals defense definitely played well against him.
Yeah.
It didn't. The Chiefs defense or the Chiefs offense just didn't look fluid in this game.
It didn't.
Like we're used to seeing anyway. I mean, you're used to a high-powered offense, lots of great passes, lots of big plays. You weren't really getting it. Kelsey was quiet early on. He did get some catches late, but he was quiet early on. Juju got hurt in this game. I do remember that. He did return, but he wasn't the same. Just not a great game out of the Chiefs. They definitely could have won this game, in my opinion. The offense, something seemed off with the Chiefs in this game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that. We'll have to see how that plays out the rest of the year, obviously. But quiet game out of the Chiefs. Big win for the Bengals. Big win for the Bengals.
I also think what we're seeing from the Bengals right now is that something happened with that O line. It's playing really good.
Joe Burrow hasn't been sacked a while now, right? All right, he got sacked in this game. Karlaftis did get a sack in this game, but like going into this week, I don't think they had allowed a sack in a couple weeks. They've definitely improved. That's all I can say. Their play out of that offensive line.
The success that offense is having is that O line's actually doing stuff now.
The crazy part is like they have great linemen on that offensive line. Lyle Collins is an All-Pro. Alex Kappa, All-Pro coming over from the Bucks. Like they have good offensive linemen on that line. It was a matter of getting it to work, I think, in my opinion, because they have they have returning guys on that team. They returned the left guard, the left tackle, and I think the center's new. But like they have returning guys and you have new guys, so you have to make sure that everything meshes together. And I think they're finally getting to that point. That's just huge for a team that is fighting with the Ravens to win that division. I think it's going to come down to the wire. Losing Lamar for the Ravens is going to hurt. So I mean that battle's going to be a tough battle. It's going to come down to the wire. Definitely. The Sunday night game was the Colts and Cowboys. This game it was actually a lot closer than the scoreline shows, which is crazy. Because
like third quarter, it was like a really close game, and then bang.
With 13, I saw the picture of this. With 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it was 22-9 Cowboys, the Colts.
Yeah, it got bad. It got bad.
How do you get this final score line of 19-54?
It got bad, brother. It got bad. The Cowboys said, "Yo, you guys can't hang."
Like what the hell? Like,
yo, that game was nuts. Yeah, the Cowboys are kind of a great football team right now.
CeeDee Lamb went off in this game. Pollard went off in this game. Zeke looked good in this game. Which is the scoreline doesn't show.
I know the Colts ain't like all that great, but you got 33 dropped on your head in the fourth quarter, bro.
Yeah.
Ain't no other team in the NFL done that.
I don't know if the Colts gave up or I don't know. Like, I don't understand, though, the fact that the Cowboys put up 54 and Dak only has 170 yards passing.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, it was crazy. I didn't know what I was watching, but it was crazy. I didn't know what was going on. All I know is they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
I mean, you look down and you blink and you miss the end of this game. I don't know. It's crazy. Alec Pierce looked good in this game for the Colts. I will say that. He was a bright spot for them. He was making some good catches.
I think he fumbled in this game, no?
I think he did too. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, he looked good.
Yeah, he had a solid game, but he did cough the ball up, I think, once.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. You have Matt Ryan throwing 3 interceptions. That's never a good sign.
Another team that's really hard to play against, though, that Cowboys defense has kind of been right there, like right there, kind of with the Niners defense. To be honest,
Yeah.
it's kind of right there. I mean,
What's crazy
like
is Parsons had a quiet game.
he did,
Two
he did have a
tackles, no
quiet game.
sacks.
He did have a quiet game, but the rest of the defense picked
I
it
mean,
up, so
everyone
even
else
better.
stepped up. Yeah. I mean, 2 picks
Even
out of
better.
Deron Bland's, a pick out of Malik Hooker, former Colt, by the way.
Yep, forced fumble.
Yep. Anthony Barr with a sack. Osa, I don't even know how to pronounce that last name with a sack. Odigizua or
Let's
something.
not
I
even
don't even
butcher
know.
his
Yeah,
name. Let's not
sorry.
even butcher it.
All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Cowboys killed the Colts. That's all you need to know.
Dude, if this is the Cowboys that plays in the postseason,
There's your headline: Cowboys kill Colts.
Yep, that's the headline for sure because they definitely did.
And the Monday night game, kind of a quiet game. Uh, Nothing crazy. Big fourth quarter for the Bucks. The Bucks came back in this game. They were down. They were down 16-3. What I'm looking at, and they came back and won 17-16. Scored a touchdown with like 6 seconds left in the game or something like that.
Sounds like a Tom Brady headline to me.
You can't count out Tom Brady to come back. Like he's the GOAT for a reason. I'm sorry to say because I hate Tom Brady.
Dolphins fan, man. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah. It's tough to watch him.
You got a lot of bad memories of Tom Brady.
I don't hate anyone. I'll say that. But like I can't not.
He has scarred you for life, though.
I can't
sure.
not like. I can't like Tom Brady. I'm sorry.
I feel it, man. I feel it.
Yeah, he definitely brought that team back because they were down. They were down. I mean, 16-3 is a pretty big score. Pretty big score line in the fourth quarter. That's a pretty big comeback. Yeah. Dalton looked good in this game. He didn't make any mistakes. He was getting the ball around. That team, I mean, not having Michael Thomas, not having some big pieces, they've made it work for what they have. I mean, Olave has stepped up huge this year as a rookie. Other guys have stepped up when they need to. Taysom Hill has been pretty good for them as their little like Swiss Army knife guy. Completed a pass in this game, had some rushing yards, had a receiving touchdown.
Yeah, he just does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
He's like their
Swiss Army knife.
Of all trades, dude.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
Heck yeah, man.
Really what he is. But I mean, the Bucks ended up coming back and winning this game, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I
swear we've seen this though from Andy Dalton this year. It's one bad game, one okay game, one bad game.
It's pretty much where they're at. Game. Yeah, which is a shitty thing. But the freaking craziest part of it is they're 2 games out of first place at 4-9. Like how? This division is so bad.
It's so bad, bro.
This NFC South is so bad.
It is terrible.
The fact that they're 4-9 and 2 games out of first place is disgusting.
That shouldn't be a thing.
It shouldn't exist.
Imagine a 4-9 team in the playoffs and they just get fucking demolished by whoever they play. Oh man, that would be
whoever plays if they somehow get into the playoffs, whoever has them.
Oh, that's a field day.
They basically have a bye.
Yeah, bye week.
But then again, it's Tom Brady in the playoffs. So can you count against Tom Brady to make a run in the playoffs?
I'm not betting against Tom Brady in the playoffs. I think he might go to his 11th Super Bowl this year, but that's just me. I don't know.
That's the scariest part about this.
That's the scariest part about this division. It's got Tom fucking Brady in it. How do you count him out?
You really can.
I feel like at the end of this year, it's been looming in the back of my mind. Even though we have these great football teams, there's still a dude named Tom fucking Brady that plays in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I have this thing in the back of my head where he's going to be able to put his 2 thumbs up, and you'll see 4 fingers on both hands with Super Bowl rings on it, and that'll be it. That'll be what he finished with 2 thumbs up.
Gross.
8 rings.
Well, we'll have to see how that goes the rest of the way, right? You want to go to our picks this week? Talk about
Hell yeah.
these. All right, so we got some interesting games this week. Uh, First off, the Thursday night game, tomorrow game, Raiders Rams
That's
in
gonna be a good
LA.
game.
This could be a good game. I don't know if is Baker playing in this game because Baker is now on the Rams. Baker
He's
Mayfield.
on the Rams?
He got claimed by the Rams.
Guess
I
he's
don't know if
playing
I
then.
don't know if he's starting or not. I haven't seen that. We'll have to see how that goes.
I mean,
Raiders are probably gonna win this game based on Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. Yeah,
Josh carry the team on my fucking back, Jacobs.
yeah. Uh,
Dude, that guy is playing crazy football.
yeah. That'll be if he plays the way he's been playing, it's gonna get scary for the Rams very quickly. That's just all I'm gonna say.
Not many running backs in the NFL that could say, "Hey, I got 300 yards in a single game."
Yeah, no, it's gonna get scary very quickly if he plays the way he's been playing. We're both taking the Raiders though. I think that's a fair.
Should be obvious.
I think that's a fair
no
take.
Cooper Cup on that offense. So what are they gonna do?
Exactly.
Baker Mayfield them to death.
The next game, Vikings versus the Lions in Detroit. The Lions, they're playing heartfelt football, but the Vikings are just a very much improved team and a very, very good football team in comparison to the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions have been playing really good. I think they've been playing better than they are, but I don't think they're going to beat the Vikings. The Vikings are one of the best teams in the league.
Their defense is stepping up when they need to. The offense is playing good football. Kirk Cousins has looked good, apart from a few scary bad games.
Yeah.
So I mean, as long as Cousins plays well, they win this game. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. The next game is going to be an interesting one. Ravens versus the Steelers. No Lamar Jackson. He's out this week. No. They said he's out. They did say he's out. They said he's not playing this week. Jim Harbaugh did say that he is not playing.
He coaches college.
Sorry, whatever, John. Fuck you. Whatever. I get the two confused. You know what I'm saying. Harbaugh said Harbaugh said that he is he's doubtful to play this week. And I don't think he's going to play this week based on them.
I don't think he's
even if he were to come in and play this game, the Ravens would be stupid to play him. If you're trying to make a playoff push, you rest Lamar Jackson. You have to. Yeah. For his safety and for the team's sake.
I have faith in Tyler Huntley to step up. I do.
This will be a good game, in my opinion.
I think Tyler Huntley's better than people think. I know he played really bad last year when he filled in, but I think he's improved.
Kenny Pickett versus Tyler Huntley. If we get good Kenny Pickett versus a good Ravens defense, this game is going to be a defensive game, in my opinion.
100%.
It's going to come down to the defenses. Who's going to step up more? Who's going to make the big plays? That's what's going to be the deciding factor in this game. Yep. I'm taking the Steelers. I think the way Kenny Pickett's been playing, I think they're going to come out on top in this game, but it's going to be a close game. That's. You
won't see me not picking the Ravens.
Yeah, you have to take your home team. That's what I did it last week with the Dolphins. It backfired, obviously, but the next one. Hey, you can't bet against your team. The next game, you got the Browns versus the Bengals. Deshaun Watson, we don't know how he's going to play as of this week. I mean, he played horribly in his first game back, but he hadn't played in a year and a half. So
it was a long time for him not playing on a football field.
Yeah.
So
I think he'll be back, but I don't think he can beat this Bengals team. I think this Bengals team is getting hot. If they get Joe Mixon back this week, is yet to be seen. I don't know if he's practiced yet or cleared protocol, but if they get Joe Mixon back, on top of how well the defense has been playing and this offense has been playing, I think it could get very bad very quickly for this Cleveland team. Joe Burrow's been playing well. Jamar Chase is back. He looked great in his first game back, so he can only get better, in my opinion.
My take on this game, I don't think the Bengals have played good against division teams this year, man. And like if you go back earlier when they played the Browns, they kind of got stomped on.
Look here. Curious now. Curious to see.
They got stomped on the last time they played the Browns. Like pretty bad. Pretty bad. I think that Browns defense is really, really good. And I think that's going to cause issues again for this Bengals team.
So your first game of the season, they played the Steelers. They lost in overtime, 23-20.
Wait, am I looking at something wrong here?
First game of the season.
Wait. No, that's right.
Yeah, they lost to the Steelers 23-20 in overtime. Their next division game was against the Ravens. They lost 19-17. So
Yeah,
in total, they're 0-2 in their first two division games by a total of 5 points. And then the Browns killed them.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I think that they have gotten hotter though since then. I think they're improved. They beat the Steelers after that. So I mean, it could be interesting. We'll have to see.
I think this will be a really good game because I think the Browns are super talented football team. Even though I hate saying that, I hate it. It's like a burning sensation on my tongue saying the Browns are talented.
They're just known to be a bad team though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I'm also a Ravens fan, and they're in my division, so it bothers me.
I know.
But it's a fact. I mean, they lost to Jacoby Brissett.
You'd also don't want the Bengals to win.
I need the Bengals to lose.
I know you,
but I think the Browns are. Personally, for me,
yeah, I get you.
I think the Browns are more complete. The Browns are more complete. That defense, crazy. That defense is so good.
They are a very good team.
That defense showed you how good they are last week.
This game could be a good game.
Score.
I will say this game could be a good game.
Yeah,
I think Deshaun Watson has to play much better, and Bengals are getting very.
Yeah,
they're getting hot at the right time. This is like how they played last year. They got hot at the right. So
I can agree. I think both teams are in a place where they're kind of playing their best football. Well, maybe not the Browns offensively. I know their run game has been solid all year, but I think
it'll have to. It comes down to how Deshaun. I think that's that, and then stopping this. That's
yeah. I think it'll be good.
I'm taking the Bengals though because I think they are just getting hot at the right time.
I'm taking the Browns because I need the Bengals to lose.
You need the Bengals to lose. This is your
I actually do think the Browns are going to win because the Browns kind of horse slammed them the first time.
We'll have to see how. The different quarterback than the last.
It's true. It's very true.
Bills versus Jets. Bills are the better team. I don't think Mike White has the talent to beat Josh Allen. And it's up in Buffalo. I think Buffalo's figuring things out, especially after the loss of Von Miller. Their defense has stepped up even without him, which is huge. The offense is figuring things out. They definitely are getting a run game now, which is big for a team that was very pass heavy. And that only helps Josh Allen. So that team is a scary team in the AFC. The Jets, as good as the Jets have been playing, I don't think they have the talent to beat this Bills roster at this point.
They already have, though. So I'm going Bills here. I 100% agree. The Bills are a better football team, every aspect of the game. But they did lose to the Jets this year.
They did.
So I think this game is going to be good. I think it will be defensive. I really do. The Jets defense is crazy. It really is. The Jets defense shuts down almost every team.
Who was the running back in that?
It was Michael Carter. 12 for 76 and a touchdown.
Was it? Did Breece Hall not play in this game?
Probably only good game of the year. If you count 18 of 25 for 150 yards and a touchdown, good. If you count that as good.
This was a game where Josh Allen did struggle. He did struggle against this Jets defense. I don't think this happens again, though.
I can agree.
I don't think that stat line right there is going to happen again from Josh Allen.
I definitely. I'm pretty. Isn't this the game that he was having that literally it was that same week the UCL issue?
I believe so.
So, what the heck?
I don't think that happens again though. We'll have to see though. It could be a good game. I think it'll be a good game. I genuinely think it'll be a good game, but I don't think.
I'm excited. This is such a good week for football. Man.
It is. It really is. Cowboys Texans. The Cowboys are just gonna kill the Texans. I don't care. That's as much as I'm gonna say. I don't even need to talk about it. The Cowboys are going to crush the Texans. If somehow the Texans beat the Cowboys in this game, I don't even know. You're turning your cam on if the Texans beat the Cowboys. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm putting it on this. This is what we're doing. If the Texans beat the Cowboys, there's going to be a Dallas camera over there next week.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm actually down for that bet.
Okay. That's what we're basing it off of. If the Texans beat the Cowboys, Dallas is turning a face cam on.
Okay.
Go yes. Cowboys. Yep. Go Cowboys. There you go. Next game, Eagles versus Giants. This will be a good game. I think this will be a much closer game than people will think it will be, based on the Eagles being just a very, very, very freaking good football team this year. Giants are playing improved football, though, so I think it'll be a closer game. The Eagles are going to pull it out, though. They're just a better team. Sorry, Giants fans. I'm not putting my trust in Daniel Jones. Sorry. Next game, Jaguars-Titans. This game could be potentially a good game. The Jaguars always do play well against the Titans. They always play well against their division for some reason, but they can't seem to figure it out against other teams for some freaking reason. As much as I can say, it's like the Titans are playing better. They're the division leader. They're playing at home. I think they have more talent than the Jaguars do at the current moment. So I think they'll pull it out in this game. Probably not a high-scoring game, though.
Yeah.
Chiefs Broncos. This is another one of those freaking. I mean, there's just no comparison offensively. The Chiefs are the best team, in my opinion, in the AFC. Even though the record puts them as the 2 seed at the moment, I believe the Bills jumped ahead based on like head-to-head or something like that. I think I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to it.
Yeah. I think Pat Mahomes could throw for 6+ touchdowns.
The Broncos just aren't going to against this team. This is another one of those things, though. Like, if somehow the NFL gods decide how things work, Broncos somehow magically pull off a win against the Chiefs.
Seahawks Russell Wilson with 300 yards and 4 TDs. Imagine.
Yeah. I mean, that could happen in this next game. Seahawks versus Panthers. The Panthers. Sam Darnold versus Geno Smith. 2 former Jets quarterbacks going head to head. Crazy. Geno Smith's definitely playing a much improved football, though. That offense, if they have the running game that they normally do, I'm hoping that someone returns from injury. I know Kenneth Walker is questionable as of right now, as the time we record this, but also, on the flip side, Donta Foreman is injured. He missed practice today, so we'll have to see how that goes.
That's their workhorse.
It is their workhorse, it is. But I will say, Chuba Hubbard, or however you pronounce his name, Chuba Hubbard, he's looked good too. So if they don't have Donta Foreman, Hubbard could get some extra carries, and he did look good while he was carrying the football in the past few weeks. So
I can agree.
The Seahawks are a better team, though, so I'm taking them in this game.
If that's 2 Jets quarterbacks, does that mean that the Jets have had talented QBs? They just didn't use them right?
I mean, it's possible. It's very possible. Systems can kill quarterbacks, and systems can bring quarterbacks back to life. So, who knows? Who knows? Next game, Tampa versus San Francisco. This is the first game without Jimmy Garoppolo for San Francisco. First full game without Jimmy Garoppolo. This game could be interesting. I know the 49ers have the best defense in the NFL. I will say that. But I come back to the same phrase that I said a few minutes ago. You can't bet against Tom Brady. I think the Bucs are improved from the start of the season. They have struggled to get things going early in games, but they've played very, very well second half. And they have a whole week to prepare for Brock Purdy. So I'm gonna take the Bucs in this one based off of my principle of you can't bet against Tom Brady.
I respect it. I respect it. I just think if you can't score any points against the Saints, how the fudge are you scoring against the Niners?
Yeah, I agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. I have to go with my gut here and say that you can't bet against Tom Brady, and I have to take him.
And I respect that for you. I'm gonna play my cards into the NFL.
Yeah, you can base it off of stats. I base it off
I'm
of
gonna
history.
play my cards into the NFL mystical ball that seems to always say, "Hey, if you bet against Tom Brady, you lose." But I don't care.
Yep.
I think the Niners are better, so I'm gonna be logical and go for
Yeah, you go with logic. I'm gonna go with
You're gonna play that mystical ball.
Yes, I'm gonna play the NFL gods.
The NFL gods.
Yep. The Sunday night games, Dolphins Chargers. This game will be a very good game.
Yes.
I'm not picking the Dolphins based off of me just being a Dolphins fan in this one. I'm solely picking the Dolphins because they have more talent on offense. The Chargers, with the injuries they have had, I don't know if Mike Williams he's questionable as of right now to play. The other guys that have been stepping up to play receiver because of the injuries that they've had have not been playing well lately. DeAndre Carter's been quiet. The frick did they have at receiver? That's literally my. The Chargers have not gotten anything out of their receivers since Keenan Allen's returned. Keenan Allen's return, that's huge for them, yes. But the guys who were playing that were actually playing well in replacement of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen have disappeared since Keenan Allen has returned, and that's a problem in my opinion. You can't just have one receiver. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's almost like they expect him to take the bulk of everything, which, I mean, he kind of has done that, but, I mean, that's not a winning formula.
He's also an aging receiver, and he was hurt.
Yeah.
You can't trust in one guy. Yes, he's back, but is he 100%? I don't know personally because I'm not Keenan Allen. So I can't say. Only Keenan Allen knows if he's 100% healthy, and I can't say yes or no to that. So if he's not 100% healthy, that's a problem. And I think if you're trusting in one guy to do everything for you offensively, yes, you have Eckler, yes, you have Herbert, but you need other receivers and other guys to step up, and they haven't been doing it as of late. And the Dolphins have a team where they can get you on defense if you aren't utilizing every talented player on your roster. They can take away one guy. They've shown it and they've done it countless times already this year and even in previous seasons. They can take away a guy and they can shut you down. They've done it and they can continuously do it. And that's a problem for a Chargers team that seems to be relying heavily on Keenan Allen. On the flip side, the Dolphins offense, if they can get the run game going in against this Chargers defense, that could be a problem for them. Tua's obviously going to do his thing. He has his receivers. If Jalen Waddle's healthy, how are you going to cover Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill? That's just plain and simple. You have two talented receivers, two star-studded receivers, and the guys behind them have actually stepped up too this year. Trent Sherfield, Tua has seemed to utilize him in that slot role, almost like a kind of like a Deebo Samuel. It's kind of scary. He proved it last week. They have huge first play of the game. I mean, he didn't make any plays after that, but he's been doing that as of late. The last few weeks, Trent Sherfield has turned into that little like dink and dunk guy, and then use his legs to get yardage out of it. So they have talent and they're utilizing it. That's the scariest part about this Dolphins team is they are utilizing what they have. And it's getting things done. The Chargers need to do that in order to beat the Dolphins. And I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Yep.
The Monday night games, Cardinals versus Patriots. I'm taking the Cardinals based off of I hate the Patriots.
Hey, I get it. I understand.
But also,
I think they're better.
But also the Patriots offense has struggled this year at times.
It
Um,
has.
the running game, they can't seem to get things going at times. They have had some good games, I will say. Ramondre Stevenson has looked good in games. He did have a rough game this past week, and I think the running game has struggled at times. Mac Jones has also shown that he's not a star-studded quarterback. He's not a top-tier quarterback. He's had games where he's just only thrown for 100 yards, and that is not a winning formula for an offense that needs to score points against this Arizona team, because this Arizona team can put up points. You have Kyler Murray, you have DeAndre Hopkins, you have Marquise Brown. James Conner has looked very good this year at times. So there's talent on that team, and they can put up points. They've shown it. They can do it. Will the defense step up to beat this Patriots team? Who knows? I think it's going to come down to if the Patriots show up on offense. I don't think it's going to matter whose defense is whose, because they're both going to put up points, whether that be a ton of points on Arizona's side or both teams putting up points. I think it's going to come down to the offenses, in my opinion, in this game. I don't think the defenses are anything special. The Patriots do have a good team. I will say that. They have talent on that team. It's going to come down to who the hell puts up points in this game.
Yep.
That's literally where I'm going to come down to it. And in my opinion, with the way the Cardinals have been playing as of late, and they have their players back, and the Patriots have struggled at times, especially as of late, they've only put up a bunch of field goals lately, which is crazy to me. So that's the only reason I'm taking the Cardinals in this. I'm not taking it because I hate the Patriots.
No, I agree with you, but I just think I think the Patriots can pull out another win here. I mean, they've put out wins against teams that I don't think they should have put out wins against teams on. So
I mean,
I think it'll be a good game.
it's a fair assessment. We'll have to see. Definitely have to see. Um, you're getting closer in our records. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna come down to the wire. It's another one of those little like,
Yep.
who knows kind of things.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
But other than that, anything else you got for us today, Dallas?
One more thing. One more thing. The current draft order updated for this week right now. Do you want to hear the top 10?
Yeah, go right ahead.
For next year's draft? So we got Houston has the number 1 pick in the draft up to this point right now. It's the Texans, then the Bears, then the Seahawks, and that's via Denver's pick.
Okay.
So the Seahawks have the 3rd pick right now because of the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions have the 4th pick because of the Rams. This one will kind of blow your mind. The Eagles have the 5th pick because of their New Orleans pick.
One of the scariest part about that, they play each other week 17.
Yep.
So if New Orleans continues to struggle and the Eagles continue to play well, that team could be a top-seeded team with a top 5 pick.
And there's some good players coming out of this draft.
They control their own destiny with that pick.
I think Houston's definitely going to get to have the number 1 pick next year.
Oh yeah, that's definitely solidified.
Worst record. Yeah, I don't see a team having a worse record than that.
They're definitely the number 1 pick.
So
yeah.
I look forward to seeing whoever they take. But then you got Carolina at 6, Jacksonville at 7, Cardinals at 9, the Cardinals at 8, the Colts at 9, and the Falcons at 10.
Yeah.
And that's at this current week.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that top 5 plays out the rest.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the Seahawks and Eagles on there. I mean, holy crap! If they get a top 5 pick next year, we might see some friggin'.
I mean, look at 3, 4, and 5. Just as of right now.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions are much better than their record shows.
Yep.
In my opinion, I think they have a lot of talent. They just need to figure it out, and they need to fill a few gaps. Seattle's overplaying what they were expected to be this year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You trade away your star quarterback, and you're still you're over 500 as of right now, going into week 14. I don't think that has ever happened.
Probably not.
I don't think that's ever happened. In the time that I've watched football, and that's been a solid 15 plus years,
Not
I don't think
trading,
I've ever
not
seen that.
trading away a
Trading
star
away your
quarterback.
star quarterback. Trading away your star
Yeah,
quarterback.
trading away
Yes.
that I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
then you have the Eagles. I mean, they've done well getting picks from other teams.
It's crazy that they have the pick right now from the Saints. That's kind of nuts. I didn't even know that, but
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy.
Yep. That was part
So
of the trade with they traded a pick. They traded back last year. So they had 3 first round picks last year, and they traded one of their first round picks to the Saints, I believe is who it was. So that's how they got this pick. And then the
that's crazy.
Saints, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, the Saints, I don't think we're expecting to be 4-9 at this point this year. So I mean,
Yeah, you want to know one thing with the Saints? This might be I might be wrong here, but I do think Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton.
yeah, I mean, possible.
So I don't know what's going on over there in New Orleans.
I
I
think
really don't.
they have an identity crisis right now.
They do, 100%. And I mean, it doesn't help that they've been hurt, but I mean, at the same point in time, like Jameis Winston's had games where he's thrown for 5 touchdowns on that team. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I,
like I said, I think they have an identity crisis. I think they need to figure out where they want to go offensively, how they want to run that offense, who they want to have run that offense, and then figure out where their pieces need to be to accomplish that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think the head coach they have, he's a new head coach because he took over for Sean Payton. Um, they have to figure that out. But other than that, is there anything else you got for me today, Dallas?
nope, that's it. That's it.
All right, well, we'll have to watch some good football this week and see how things play out.
Go Ravens.
There's a few potential clinching games this week for a few teams. We'll have to see if anyone clinches this week.
Yep.
You said go Ravens, go Dolphins. Good luck to your
Oh,
teams. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. If you're enjoying the content, let us know. Comment down below. Let us know if there's anything we need to change or anything you think we should add. Other than that, we'll catch you guys next week. You guys have a great weekend.
Later.
Peace.